Om Shri Sairam. A hearty welcome to revered elders and my brothers and sisters gathered here. I am Pranav Balaji, a participant of the 2024 batch of the Sri Sathya National Leadership Program for Self-Transformation from Delhi. As we dive into a beautiful satsang this evening, let us immerse ourselves in the boundless love of our dearest Saima, expressing our deepest gratitude at the divine lotus feet. Swami says, the proper study of mankind is man. What exactly is man? Man is a combination of thought, word, and deed. If all these three aspects are in harmony, then the person will be truly human. Welcome all to the 8th episode of Satsangatve Nisangatvam, integration of thought, word, and deed, a step closer to Bhagawan Sri Satyasai. This evening, we have the privilege of hearing from Sri TVSN Prasad, IAS, a highly accomplished individual whose career spans 35 years across government and private sectors. Sir holds numerous positions, including the Chief Secretary to the Government of Haryana, where he oversees and coordinates the work of a plethora of departments, and as the Financial Commissioner of Revenue and Secretary to the Cabinet. His leadership extends to roles such as the Home Secretary and Secretary of Administration of Justice, where he is responsible for police administration, criminal justice, and revenue courts. Sir's career is marked by significant contributions to governance, public policy, and sustainable development. He led World Bank operations in Nigeria and Guinea and played a crucial role in the development of macroeconomic country partnership strategies, focused on improving access and participation for marginalized communities. His effects and efforts in the World Bank earned him the Corporate Excellence Award for negotiating complex projects with lasting impacts. In addition to his professional achievements, Sir is a prolific author. He has contributed extensively to the fields of public finance, sustainable development, and energy infrastructure, with publications in various international economic journals, some even published by the World Bank. His academic work includes papers on electricity market design in India, energy sector reform strategies, and carbon finance methodologies, presented at prestigious international conferences. Sir's academic credentials are equally impressive, with a PhD in economics from IIT Delhi, where his research focused on evaluating capital allocation. He also holds a master's in public administration from the world-renowned Harvard University, where he was a J.K. Galbraith Scholar and an Edward S. Mason Fellow in Public Policy Management. Through his vast experience and deep commitment to the principles of truth, righteousness, and integrity, Sir has truly embodied Swami's teachings in every aspect of his life. His insights and reflections will surely guide us as he expounds on the integration of thought, word, and deed. With great joy and anticipation, let us now welcome our esteemed speaker for the evening, Sri TVSN Prasad. Over to you now, sir.
Sairam, I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Then Mr. Gopi called me and suggested that I should participate in this wonderful event. I didn't expect that it will be such an overwhelming event. Firstly, I wasn't informed or I wasn't aware that it has such huge following. I must compliment you for that. I've just seen that more than 380 participants have already logged in. That is truly commendable. It's not an easy task to run such a event, and as was just informed in the introduction, it's the 8th episode already. So I must congratulate Mr. Gopi and his team and all the participants who are putting their hearts and minds into it and making this event such an amazing and such an awesome event. Having said that, I was at a loss as to how should I participate in this event. So I requested Shubhada, who was kind enough to coordinate with me on various issues for the past week or so. I am guilty of not being responsive enough to her because she's efficient, which I'm, and it proved that I wasn't as efficient as she is, and I wasn't as efficient as your team is. Be that as it may, I contacted Shubhada today and requested her to tell me what should I speak today, because I was diffident. I was diffident that should I prepare something and read out something, but then what can I speak to people who are from the Sai family? So many discourses you have heard from Bhagawan. So many discourses are available online. Subhada was kind enough to send me the links to the last 7 episodes. I heard some of the speakers. I thought that I really cannot add much to what they have already said. Then I must confess, let me see how Mr. Gopi speaks, because he is the main convener of this event. So I Googled, and then I saw a video of Mr. Gopi where he was describing Swami and the incident of his marriage, Swami organizing his marriage. And that Swami said that you're a prince and you are getting a princess. I heard that story, very humorous, very witty, but at the same time, which showcases Swami's compassion. So I was at a loss. Nor do I have such instances which I can narrate. I'm not a prince like Mr. Gopi. Nor do I have such knowledge and nuggets of wisdom that I can share with you, or lecture you, or sermonize you. I was conscious and diffident of that. I was conscious and diffident that this is a very elite group. It's a group comprising youth, as I was told, between ages 18 to 35 years. So they are energetic, they are agile, they know a lot about, they're just discovering life, exploring life, but they know a lot more than what we do because of the resources that are available now, electronically and otherwise. And they're blessed to be part of the Sai family. So they know a lot about spirituality, about the theme of today's event, thought, deed, and thought, word, and deed. Integration of thought, word, and deed. So what can I speak about this theme when they have heard Swami so many times? Even if they weren't in the college when Swami was in Puttaparthi, helming the affairs of the college, they have heard him delivering the discourses electronically. So I didn't think I could add some value to it. So what I did was I simply opened the website of your program, and then I thought the very first thing that I'll see in that program, let me make that my theme and let me anchor my discussion with you around that. So when I opened the link that Shubhada sent me, the first quote that came up on the screen was the quote of Swami, which was given in that website. Swami says, I want you to be leaders to protect the world. Leaders like lions, self-reliant, courageous, majestic, and just. The lion is the king of animals. and I want you to be kings among men or women. What a wonderful exhortation from Swami. Live like a king. So that is the best message I think Swami gave to all youth, which you have so aptly captured in your website. Live like kings or queens, if you will. So let's now talk about what does it entail to live like kings. How can we live like kings? Swami says that I want you all to be kings among men or queens among women. How do we live like a king or a queen? If you look at nature, grass doesn't try to grow, it grows. Sun doesn't try to shine, it just shines. A flower doesn't try to bloom, it just blooms. जो खुशबू आता है एक फूल से, वो खुशबू लाने के लिए फूल कोशिश नहीं करता, वो खुशबू का महक अपने आप आता है। ये स्वामी से ही, स्वामी का डिस्कोर्सेस से ही मैं बोल रहा हूँ, बाहर से नहीं बोल रहा मैं। Shubhada wanted me to be bilingual. I'm following the diktat. So when I said the nature doesn't try to be what it is, it just is. So if you want to live like a king among men and women, just be what you are. Fine. So you want to be, just be what you are. Then what are you? Swami said just now in the introductory message that you showed us, that I'm around you, I'm behind you, I'm in you, I'm with you. That I think encompasses everything. Again, coming from Swami's discourses, all of us, in all of us, there is Nara and Narayana. God and man, in all of us. It's for us to choose whether we bring the Narayana in us out, the God in us out, the Swami in us out, or we choose to focus on ourselves. There is space only for one. Either we push the Paramatma to background, or we bring Swami to the front and we go to the background. There is a beautiful story in Bhagavat. I am talking to you from Haryana. So a story which relates to Kurukshetra. This story also Swami has related several times. So I'm just repeating it. After the Kurukshetra war, Kurukshetra is a district. I was blessed to be a collector of Kurukshetra district also. So I lived for a few years in Kurukshetra. But talking about Kurukshetra, maybe another day, another topic. But when Kurukshetra war was completed, and I'm told in those days, it was the practice for women also to be there on the battlefield, to tend to the injured men and to boost their morale. So women, Kunti and other women were also there in the battlefield. The battle was over. Pandavas won the battle. Then Kunti said to Krishna that it's time for the women to go ahead to Hastinapur, which is the modern day Delhi. It's around 200 kilometers from Kurukshetra to Delhi, modern Kurukshetra to Delhi, but it's the same location, Hastinapur and Kurukshetra. as in Mahabharata. So the woman would like to go back, and Krishna said that all the troops are tired after the war. So why don't you wait for 2 days and go? Because the troops let them recoup, the soldiers. Then Arjuna said that I have won such a big war, Krishna. How come you are telling me that I will not be able to escort these women to Hastinapur? Why do I need the troops to escort them? Krishna said, on the way in Panipat area, there are hills. It's a forest, thick forest area, and they are likely to pose a threat. I don't want the women to be vulnerable to these bills. But Arjuna said, what is this, Krishna? I won such a big war, Athara Akshavani, strong war. Can't I escort the women to Delhi? I'm enough to tackle the hills. So Krishna said, fine, I gave you an advice, but it is for you to choose. So Arjuna took Kunti and the entire Antapur, that is the ladies who have, the royal ladies who were there in the battlefield, in palanquins, they were being taken to Hastinapur, and lo and behold, just like Krishna has warned, hills surrounded them, and Arjuna somehow, भागवत में श्लोक है संस्कृत में, गांडी ने काम नहीं किया, कोई मंत्र याद नहीं आया, वो कोई बाण काम नहीं किया, और भिल इनको लेडीज को कस्टडी में लेके और अर्जुन को भी बंदी बना. Then Arjuna remembered what Lord Krishna said and said, गलती हो गई मेरे से, मुझे क्षमा करिए. मैं अपने आप के ऊपर ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट था. आपने कहा था कि ये रिस्क आप मत लो, मैंने लिया, अब मुझे इससे बचाइए. देन कहते हैं कि जैसा उन्होंने कृष्णा का स्मरण किया, लॉर्ड कृष्णा का, उनको अपना स्ट्रेंथ वापस आई. भागवत में श्लोक है, वो गांडी काम करने लग गया, सारे मंत्र याद आ गए. Then he could shoot his arrows and overcome the bills, free the women folk, and then take them safely to Hastinapur. Krishna followed 2 days later, and in Hastinapur asked Arjun, so how did the trip go? Then Arjun fell at his feet and said, you made me realize it's not me who won the war, it is you who won the war. It's a great story. Lot of lessons for all of us. That butterfly was asking, how does one keep his mind, his or her mind steadfast? How does one convert thought into word and word into deed? By having focus. And then we heard Swami saying, I am with you, I am behind you, I am for you. That is the essence of life. That is the essence of discussion. That is the message of Swami's life. That we need to understand that we need to let the God in us bloom. We need to let the nature bless us, and we need to develop a lifestyle where we blend into nature, where we blend into God's blessings, where we keep ourselves in such a way that we take God's blessings. All these things are easier said than done. But I'm trying. Me and Mr. Gopi have tried thus far, but people like you youngsters have much larger window to keep trying this, that to let God's blessings work on you, work through you. I'll speak very briefly because I was asked to speak briefly about my own experiences, and then maybe I'll open up for question answers. I studied my 11th and 12th in Puttaparthi. I was blessed to be in Prashant Nilayam, the first batch. Before that, I went to school to Hyderabad Public School, and later after Puttaparthi, at that time, Ishwaramma School was hosting both the inter-college and the school because the main college buildings didn't come up by that time. Mr. Chakravarti was the registrar of that fledgling college. And I happen to know Mr. Chakravarti since those days. We have been in constant touch since then. Later on, I went to do my engineering in Hyderabad. But as soon as I finished my BTech, I got into the IAS in my first attempt, then got allotted the Haryana cadre. I worked in Haryana in various capacities in various districts as district collector, managing director of some government companies. Then I worked in Hyderabad also as in AP Transco, and I was chairman and managing director of AP CPDCL. At that time, it was a joint state. The Telugu states weren't divided at that time. And then I went to Harvard and worked with the World Bank for a decade, almost a decade, in Washington, D.C. And then returned to government. I worked in Government of India and Ministry of Home Affairs. For example, I headed the National Mission for Clean Ganga. And then I was Finance Secretary of the state, then Home Secretary of the state, Revenue Secretary of the state. Now I'm the Chief Secretary. So briefly, that's about me. I'm embarrassed to talk about myself, but I'm only following the practice in this satsang that one has to speak on one's own experiences. So I had some good experiences, challenging experiences where I was asked to take charge of a district as a collector when around 372 villages were submerged under 16 feet of water, where deliveries were happening on the terrace because there was water all around. Very bad situation. And it took me 6 months to call in army and to handle the situation there. The unfortunate crash of the Saudi Airlines and the Kazakhstan Airlines and the Indian Airlines flight to Saudi Arabia also happened when I was collector of this district called Lokah. So we handled that very sad human tragedy. A lot of lessons I learned about seva and about how to deal with things with compassion. Then when I worked with the World Bank, I worked on how economic resources can be properly managed for the benefit of the society. You'll be surprised to know that, for example, Niger Delta in Nigeria, it has so much of crude, and oil companies like Shell, Chevron, ExxonMobil, all of them extract crude from this underground in Niger Delta, as they do elsewhere in the world. But along with crude, some 20 different products come, like paraffin wax, so many things. Along with that, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide also come. And all that gas is flared into the sky. So a lot of climate change issues. But you'll be surprised to know that the gas that comes out of Niger Delta in 1 year is equal to gas that can light up entire Africa for 150 years. So that's the kind of economic resource wastage that is happening because there are no incentives for private sector to invest in harnessing that gas. So when I worked in the World Bank, this is one of the major projects that I worked on, where we provided partial risk guarantees to private companies like Shell, Chevron, international majors, who to incentivize them to harness this gas and send it to for fertilizer companies or for power companies. They weren't sure that they'll get the returns from the government companies. That's why the World Bank came in with this partial risk guarantee so that those investments are properly incentivized. Anyway, that was just an example of a just transition. Swami talks about a just transition. So, in Africa, for example, all these communities have so much of economic resource, but they are the poorest people in the world. Guinea, I worked on Guinea also in West Africa. Based in Washington, I used to travel to all these countries from the World Bank side. Guinea has 50% of the world's copper. Every plane that you see in the world it has Guinean copper and aluminum in it. But it is such a pity that Guineans are the poorest in the world. They can't afford even a single plane. The government there cannot afford. Why? Because our systems are complicated. They're very unjust. And that is why climate change is happening. That is why exploitation of resources and unequal distribution of resources is leading to all these distortions. Anyway, this is another topic, not a topic for today. But one of the important things for us to learn is to develop that professionalism so that we can contribute to the society. I just wanted to make that point to all of you. Even in my work, when I was heading the National Mission for Clean Ganga, I understood that there's a lot of wastage of water, a lot of pollution, there's a lot of plastic, but waste to wealth is something which we can bring in by professional interventions. Some of your engineers, some of your economists, some of your other professionals. So all of us have to blend this just transition, this equitable transition and creation of wealth so that poverty is reduced in the world. Whether we work in private sector, whether we work in government sector, it's important for us to understand that when we bring in professionalism and we blend it with compassion, then we come up with just solutions, equitable solutions. I just wanted to add here 2-3 things. All of us want to become good professionals. You're all young professionals. So what makes us a good professional? First thing is common sense. All of us need to have good common sense. We may be gold medalists in our college, but when we go to the workplace, if we don't show presence of mind, if we don't show common sense, then we will not be good professionals. We will not be rated well. We will not be able to deliver well. So often it is seen that people who are very good in exams, who get good grades, are not good professionals. Because you also need to have common sense so that you apply your knowledge properly, with a purpose, with a focus, so that you deliver solutions. So in order to deliver solutions, you need 2 things. You need knowledge, but you also need common sense. Common sense, when you specialize in common sense, when you get finer finesse, finer elements into common sense, then we call that logic. Many of you are from the software industry. You understand what algorithms are. Algorithms are actually mathematical expressions of common sense. What we understand as common sense, we create a software code which becomes an algorithm. But an algorithm embeds a logic. So common sense takes us to logic. Now logic takes us to rules. Now rules can be a law, rules can be a statute, rules can be social traditions. They are also rules. If you are in a society, you have to follow society's maryada. They are also rules. So common sense leads to logic. Logic leads to rules, law, or social traditions. But then how do you apply rules? How do you apply law? You might see that somebody commits a crime in order to protect his or her child. Now you may say that it is a crime when you apply the law. But when you go behind that crime, you see that he or she was trying to protect his or her child. Then you understand the crime was there, but it's of lesser gravity. Therefore, compassion comes in. So, when you draw the value chain, you look at common sense, then you have logic, then you have rules or law or social customs, then you add compassion to it. You have to interpret rules with compassion. So a man or a woman becomes complete when they have compassion. That is why Swami addresses us always as Prema Swarupulara, people who are full with love. Because only when you have love, you will understand life. When you have love, you have understanding. Then you are not judgmental. You deal with people, you deal with matters with compassion. Then you apply rules, logic with that understanding, that emotional quotient, that emotional intelligence is a superior form of intelligence. EQ is superior to IQ. So knowledge is just not enough. Knowledge should be combined with all these steps: common sense, logic, rules, compassion. Now when you have all this, when you understand that the other person is right, and when you start loving various issues, because you understand, you identify yourself, your heart is identified with that, then you naturally develop humility. You become humble. Then you realize that I am not the one who is making anything. I am only part of the value chain. And when you become humble, you do back foot batting like Gavaskar. Then you are there for a long time. Long race. As they say, if you want to walk fast, walk alone. If you want to walk far, walk together. I think that is what you're doing here in this satsang. You're walking together. You'll walk far. That requires compassion. That requires humility. And then there is this. Two more things I want to say. Pride cometh before fall. And one who laughs last, laughs the longest. Please remember that. Remember to have patience. Remember to bide for your time. One of the biggest lessons youth should understand is to bide for your time. For everybody, opportunity knocks. You have to be ready when the opportunity knocks at your doors. For that, you should be in a happy frame of mind always. That perhaps is the meaning of Sat Chit Ananda given by Swami. Be in a happy frame of mind, because if you are in a happy frame of mind, you will be able to convert opportunities to your betterment, to society's betterment. First, Abraham Maslow came up with this needs hierarchy. You first improve yourself, and then you work towards society, and then you go for self-actualization. So, how do you do that? When you are in a happy frame of mind. Because you are in a happy frame of mind. How are you in a happy frame of mind? When you are humble. Why should you be humble? Because when you are humble, you are doing back foot batting like Gavaskar. You are not worried about what peers say. You are not worried about the consequences of your actions, because you are watching the ball, your eyes on the ball. You are watching the ball and you are playing, then you ought to play. You connect to the ball well. Those of you who are sportsmen or women will understand this. Therefore, humility is a great strategy. It's not just a virtue. Humility is the best strategy for success. Because when you have humility, जैसा भगवान कहते हैं, अपने अंदर खाली रखो, अपने अंदर खाली रहो, जितना खाली हो सकता है अंदर खाली रहो, फिर वो नारायण will fill that खाली space. Humility is a great strategy. Mahatma Gandhi adopted this strategy and he won the biggest war of the century, of the millennia perhaps, by his sheer humility. Biggest weapon. That is what Swami keeps on telling us. Have humility. If you have humility with compassion, you will live like a king amongst men. So how do you live like a king? I go back to my original statement when Swami said, I want you to live like king amongst men or queen amongst women. How do you do that? When you develop the beautiful qualities of humility and compassion. Add to that knowledge, logic, rules. You are unstoppable. And you will win this so well. And a small, I'm not an expert in this, so I'm actually being a bit shy in coming up with these things. But Lord Ram, Bhagawan Ram, कहते हैं वो मृदुभाषी थे, used to speak soft, and वो हितभाषी थे, used to speak only good things, positive things. Then वो पूर्वभाषी थे, he used to talk to people first. He didn't wait for others to open a conversation. He used to greet them first. And then वो मितभाषी थे, he used to speak very less. All these things are actually positioning you to deal with people better. They say, I read somewhere, Lord Ram was the best PR man in the world. Best public relations man. Because he knew how to keep people comfortable. He was humble. And when you are humble, and you can't be humble with people if you are not compassionate with people. Because otherwise you will get irritated with people. So you will ill-treat them. If you are compassionate, you are also humble. If you are compassionate and humble, you have nothing to worry. You're waiting for the ball to come to you, then you will bat. Like Lord Ram did. He opened the conversation, but let others speak. And he was a hitavashi. So he was speaking only positive. So all those qualities then bring you to live like a king amongst men. As Swami wanted all of us to live like kings and queens amongst men and women. This is the message that your website carries. I opened the website link Shubhada sent me, and this message I saw first. So I thought I should speak about it, because honestly I didn't prepare. for this. I didn't want to prepare for this because that would have been artificial, superficial. And Swami said in another speech, I think addressing the youth, he said, superficial discrimination undakooda. Discrimination should be with vivek. And discrimination should be with knowledge, with depth. Should not be shallow. Anyway, I want to narrate one small personal incident which happened to me recently, Swami. There can't be a better audience than this to relate that. So when I went to Harvard, I did my master's in economics there. Then I was in the World Bank. So when I was in the World Bank in Washington, I joined in a PhD program in Virginia Tech University. But I wanted to continue my studies. My advisor at Harvard asked me to continue in PhD at Harvard. But I said, the World Bank offered me this job in Washington. It's tempting. I have to feed my family. I cannot feed them on the stipend that the university will give me. So I went to Washington. But that thought was nagging. I should study. So I joined in this PhD program, but I couldn't complete it because I returned back to India, back to my government service. Because my father wanted me to return and I wanted to tend to him, I wanted to be closer to him. So when I came back, that thought was bothering me that I should do my PhD, continue. So I joined in IIT Delhi when I was posted in Delhi. I rejoined my PhD in economics program. So I completed the program. So when I got my degree and my final viva was done, I had to submit the biodata along with the thesis in the IIT. So I submitted it, but I requested a friend that he should check before submitting it because I had to return back to Chandigarh. So I was returning. When I reached Chandigarh, I was coming back home in my car and in my official car. And I remembered suddenly that this PhD thesis is a milestone thesis. And in that biodata, I mentioned only till my undergrad degree, that is BTech. I forgot to mention about my intermediate. But usually intermediate and school people leave mentioning in the CV when they move on. But I felt emotional. Prashant and Liam, I did not mention it. Such a important, event of my life. And this was a product of my struggle, fruit of my struggle for several years doing this PhD in IIT Delhi. I thought I should mention this. So I called up my friend and requested him, did you submit the copy for binding? He said, no, not yet. It is in the press. I said, can you please retrieve it? Add Sri Sathya, Prashant Nilayam, first batch, intermediate. He said, intermediate and school to add nahi karte. Maine kaha, fir bhi, I want it to be added. He said, fine. He added that and he called me back. He said, I sent you a WhatsApp of the edited biodata. Please see it. So at that time, I told you I was going in an official car. The car stopped at a traffic light. So I went through the biodata in my WhatsApp and called him and said, it's fine, please go ahead with it. When I closed my WhatsApp and looked up, I saw Swami's statue in front of me. And I saw outside the car's window. Very rare for us to find Swami's statue in Chandigarh, of all the places. So happened that the car stopped in front of a traffic light, and in that traffic junction, on one corner, Sathya Sai Trust building is located where satsang is held every Thursday. And it so happened that when I saw outside the window, I saw Swami's statue there. I was perplexed. I asked the driver, why did you take this route? Because this is not the route to go back. But he said, no, I thought today traffic was there on the other road, so I took this route. It was such a coincidence. I felt very blessed by Swami that what he just said in the message that you showed in the introductory message, I'm with you, I'm around you, I'm behind you, in front of you, I'm always with you. So when Swami says, భక్తులు నుంచి నేను దూరం వెళ్ళట్లేదు, భక్తులే నా దగ్గర నుంచి దూరం వెళ్తున్నారు. So it is for us to go back to him. Because he is there all pervasive. It is for us to draw from him. But then at the end of the day, I'll end with this. You know, Swami also said in one of his discourses, I've written this down so I will read it. Young people should consider the true purpose of life. They should get rid of all the impurities in their hearts. With pure hearts, they should embark on service at all times and everywhere. Hands in society, head in the forest. What a beautiful way of putting it. From today, develop an unwavering mind and a steady vision. That's what the butterfly said at the start of this. That is the way to divinize the world. Having said this, hands on the society, head in the forest. I want to also tell you, you're all young people. 18 to 35 years, that's what I was told. You should enjoy life. It's a bit too early in life to talk about spirituality. You should also be spiritual, no doubt, but you should learn the art of blending spirituality into day-to-day life, enjoying with friends, going out, playing games. All this is not in conflict with spirituality. Spirituality means lead a wholesome life, lead a full life, lead a happy life. Happiness, you have to figure out what makes you happy. Everybody has a different source of happiness. But then, as Swami says, there are Sat, Rajo, Tamo Gunas. Now, if you take happiness from Sat Guna, I get happiness from gardening. I get happiness from tending to animals. I get happiness from spending time with my friends, with my family. I get happiness from service. That is Sat Guna. All of us have all three gunas. Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna, which are sources of happiness, which are not desirable. But then slowly one has to go towards Sat Guna and maybe slowly get rid of the other two. It's not possible. All of us have the combination of all three. But I would only say, be in a happy frame of mind. If you're in a happy frame of mind, only you'll find success, both spiritually and physically and materialistically. You will have a successful life. So be happy. If you enjoy playing games, sports, do that. If you enjoy physical activity has a tendency to elevate your mood, to make you happy. Similarly, read books, whichever books they are, fiction, non-fiction, spiritual also. But develop such good habits which will keep you happy. That's the only thing I can say. And that's what Swami kept on telling us when I was a student there. Prema Swarup Lara. And he said, he stressed on being in a state of ananda. So you should leave anxiety. You should let go of things. You are children for us. I should address you as children. Let go of things. You will succeed in life. Let go of things, leave them to God. Be happy. You never know how and when opportunity strikes you. That is the best way to handle life. I think I've taken a lot of time. and I have also followed the instruction that I should speak for 45 minutes. Maybe I spoke for more than that. So may I now request you to ask any questions? And over to you, Mr. Gopi, or to others. Thank you.
Sairam, that was truly insightful. We feel more than just blessed to hear so many inspiring words from you. A big thank you to you, sir. You have really opened up some new perspectives for us today. Sir, we have got few questions that were sent by our participants, and I'm sure everyone gathered here must be eagerly waiting to hear your thoughts on them. So with your permission, we would like to dive in with the first question. At different points in the game of life, we lose motivation to continue doing what is needed and start deviating towards personal pleasures. How to keep oneself self-motivated and focused to continue to believe in the process?
Personal pleasures, that's not a dirty word. I don't think one should go away from personal pleasure. Honestly speaking. I'm speaking in a Swami's event, I cannot be hypocritical. Who doesn't look for personal pleasures? Personal pleasures are a way of attaining purposeful life. As it is said in our scriptures, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So, kama is the route to moksha, and kama is desire. But that should be achieved how? Through dharma. Through artha. With dharma, righteous path, you earn wealth. And that wealth you use to fulfill your desires. Now those desires could be, my desire could be, I want to serve the poor people outside the temple. That is a desire. That can give me a personal pleasure. Why not? My desire could be that I want to support my family. I want to support my children. We should. That is our duty. I want to support poor children. Yes, we should. That's our duty. So, it's a question of how you look at that word personal pleasure. There is nothing wrong with personal pleasure. But if that is molded in a way, our scriptures have taught us that there is a saying, dharmo rakshati prakshita. You save dharma, dharma will save you. So, all of us are soldiers of dharma. Now, what is dharma? Dharma is kartavya. What is right is dharma. Now, I have a kartavya towards my children. I have a kartavya towards my parents. Now, if that gives me pleasure, that is not wrong thing. Tending to my family, it gives me personal pleasure, but it is my duty as well. It's my kartavya as well. Similarly, extending that, after I tend to my family, I also will tend to my society. That gives me personal pleasure. It gives me, as Abraham Maslow said, first you look at your basic needs, then you look at your societal needs, then you look at esteem, self-esteem. You go towards self-esteem, and then you go towards self-actualization. So we cannot remove personal from that pyramid of Abraham Maslow. There are personal needs. We cannot really, I'll be hypocritical if I say that, but the personal needs are righteous needs. When we look at our peers and tell them he is hungry, he likes to have a pizza, what's wrong with that? That's a personal pleasure. So there is a righteous need, there is a, what shall I say, not righteous need, for lack of a better word. So that is for you to choose what is right and what is wrong. your Atma tells. See, nobody is a better master than your own Antaratma. You cannot lie to yourself. You can lie to everybody else. If your inner, nobody, even a criminal cannot lie to himself. Even a criminal knows that I am doing wrong. He may justify it, but he knows that this is wrong. ये नहीं करना चाहिए. Guilt तो आता है, हर एक को आता है. It's part of you. That's how God made us. It's a manufacturing defect of human beings. That guilt everybody has. Even the worst criminal has guilt. Even they know what I'm doing is wrong. But they tend to ignore it. So don't ignore your inner voice. What your heart says is right, that is dharma. Your heart will never tell you. In Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna says, even a person who is in the crematorium, even a person who imposes capital punishment in jails, who actually pulls the rope, somebody is hanged for death sentence, even he is doing his dharma. He is not doing crime. He is doing his duty. That is not wrong. Bhagavad Gita clearly says. So, when you are doing things for personal, for doing your life, for leading your life, how is it wrong? It is perfectly right. Whether it is biological, whether it is physical, whether it is spiritual, whether it is professional, whether it is societal, you have to do your duty. Then only you will become a better individual. So I don't see, this is a very fallacious argument that when you say, how do I remove ourselves? In fact, if a young person removes oneself from normal life, then abnormality creeps in. We should not do that. That will be my answer. I hope it answers the question.
Thank you, sir. The next question that we have is, what are the factors that arises during the path of sadhana and how to fight with these evil spirit?
Again, you're all people between 18 to 35 years. Sadhana is too strong a word for you. Honestly, you should aim to become better professionals. Do a better job in your day-to-day. If you are an economist, be a better economist. If you are a father, be a better father. If you are a mother, be a better mother. No better sadhana than that. That is sadhana. When you become good professionals, when you become good individuals, good father, good mother, good friend, good officer, good worker, good official, good teacher, that is sadhana. Because you get lot of self-actualization from that. You get a lot of inner happiness, pleasure. I'm doing my job well. Do your job well. There will be challenges in doing your job. I'm sure about it. How to face those challenges? You'll find your own path. I'm nobody to tell you. In fact, God will show you the path. Only if you want to look. I'll tell you a small incident. I hope time is there, but you please cut me short when time is getting over. Our Chief Minister, a few years ago, went to visit a Gurudwara. That Gurudwara is a very big Gurudwara in 10 acres. So they welcomed him and they gave him all blessings. And then the CM was very happy. Then the CM asked them, what can I do for the Gurudwara? So they said, this land, we are here till 1940s, but this land is government land. You please transfer this land to the trust of the Gurudwara. CM said, I'm Chief Minister, no problem. I'll do that. Absolutely no problem. Then he came back. Then he told me that I want to transfer this because I promised them They weren't asking anything, but I told them, tell me some work. They told me, transfer this 10 acres in our name. So I said, fine. So I asked my officials, concerned officials, prepare a cabinet note. We will take a proposal to the cabinet for transferring those 10 acres to the Gurudwara. Then they came up, there was some policy which says per square yard, the collector rate is this. So that rate we have to apply as per the government policy. So the cost comes to 50 crores. So the proposal was brought before the cabinet. Then the Gurdwara people said, you are sitting here till 1940. You only asked us any work you tell us. We said you transfer this land in our name. Now you are asking us to pay 50 crores to the government. Where will we get 50 crores from? From where will we get? Then in the cabinet, some ministers started saying, let us give it at 1 lakh per acre, nominal cost. Let us give it, because the CM already promised them. I said, the policy doesn't allow that. Some other ministers started saying, then we have such religious institutions in our districts also. Then you give us also. Then we decided, let us collect the list of such places. Next cabinet, we collected around 500 applications came. All places, you give us this land, at such concessional rate. Then the CM said, this is opening floodgates. We cannot do this. Then he asked me, what solution can we find for this? So I said, in the cabinet only, I said, let me think of a way. Let me see what I can do about it. Without opening floodgates, making it as individual case, but making the Gurudwara which didn't have the money, take the land and keep the word that you gave. Let me think about it. So in the cabinet, several proposals come. So as Chief Secretary, I am also Secretary of the Council of Ministers. So I said, let the other item be taken. Let me think about it. And honestly, I am telling you, I closed my eyes. I said, what a fix we are in. God should show me a way out. Then I opened my eyes and opened the file. I saw in the background note that was sent by the district collector that Guru Nanak visited that Gurudwara and stayed there for 40 days and did tapasya. Guru Nanak, the first Guru of Sikhs. In fact, Swami also sings Guru Nanak bhajans. So I got an idea like a flash. I told the Chief Minister in the ears, let us say that because Guru Nanak came to this holy place and he stayed there for 40 days and did tapasya, let us transfer the land in honor of Guru Nanak ji into the Gurudwara. Free of cost. It's a government gesture. And there's only one place where Guru Nanak went. All the other 500 applications are not where Guru Nanak went. So immediately the cabinet said, yes, what a wonderful thing. So the CM said, why don't you yourself announce it? So I proposed in the cabinet, and then they are so grateful. We solved the problem so neatly. I tried to explain this incident. I can explain any number of instances like this in my professional career, 36 years long career, hundreds and thousands of instances like this, which involved tackling criminals, which involved giving seva like this to a Gurdwara, which I just explained, which involved tackling difficult politicians, difficult colleagues, which involved doing justice to the poor, hundreds of unblessed instances where the poorest of the poor I could serve. But for all this, just be happy and let the opportunity come to you. Either the life chases you or you chase life. Don't chase life. Life will chase you in the shape of Swami. Because Swami is the life giver. Swami is life. Don't chase life. Don't run after life. Life will run after you. That is the meaning of being a king amongst men or a queen amongst women. Live like a king or a queen. You don't need any other thing except God. You have God with you. You don't need to do big sadhana like a yogi. You are youngsters. Enjoy life. Be better professionals. Be good family people. Tend to your family. Be nice to your brothers and sisters. Be nice to your wife or husband and your children. Be nice to your parents. Be nice to your friends. That is the best sadhana. Sorry, I took a long time, but I hope it answers your question.
थैंक यू सर. सर हमारे पास हमारे हिंदी पार्टिसिपेंट्स भी है. उनका क्वेश्चन है, ईश्वर का वास्तविक महत्व क्या है? यदि ईश्वर एक है तो अलग अलग पुराण और ग्रंथ लिखने का क्या महत्व है?
ईश्वर एक है, बट ईश्वर अनेक भी है. अब जो आप हिंदी भाषी श्री रुद्रम अगर आप जानते हैं, श्री रुद्रम भगवान शिव का एक स्तोत्र है. कहा जाता है कि भगवान विष्णु को श्री रुद्रम सबसे प्रिय स्तोत्र है. श्री रुद्रम और महारुद्रम शिव जी का स्तोत्र है. उसमें 2 लाइन आते हैं. भगवान शिव को जब प्रार्थना करते हैं 2 लाइन आते हैं. विश्वरूपाय नमः, विरूपाक्षाय नमः. दोनों साथ साथ आते हैं. मतलब आप विश्वरूप भी हो, आप विरूपाक्ष भी हो. विश्वरूप का मतलब सारा ब्रह्मांड का विश्व आपका रूप है, और विरूपाक्ष मतलब शून्य. रूपम, रूप, नो रूप, that is virup. Virupaksh means a person with eyes but without form. If a formless being, we can see everything. A formless being. So a formless being and a form of the whole world. Both are God. शून्य भी God है, entire universe भी God है. That is a great religion. Now, when God is so much everything, then He is Allah also. Then He is Jesus also. Then He is, what shall I say, Guru Nanak also. Then He is also Satya Sai also. Then He is Shirdi Sai also. He is Lord Venkateswara also. He is everyone. He is you and me as well. So, it is important for us not to get into these templates. These are templates. Like many of you must be IT professionals. You all have templates. You open, you work in a software language, code. So religion is also like that. It's like an algorithm, a logic, source code. That's it. At the end of the day, it is God is one. The same principle operates, and that is what Swami taught us all through. मैं क्षमा चाहता हूं, मैं बीच में अंग्रेजी में चला गया, बट बेसिकली मुख्यतः हमें यह समझना चाहिए कि भगवान हर एक में है, हर जीव में है. उनका अनेक रूप है, विश्वरूप है, उनका कोई रूप भी नहीं है. एक ओंकार है. ये सिख समाज ऐसे समझते हैं कि निराकार है भगवान, ऐसे समझते हैं. आर्य समाजी है, वो समझते हैं निराकार है. सनातन धर्मी समझते हैं वो रूप के साथ है. अलग अलग रूप, अलग अलग मजहब, अलग अलग रूप है, नाम है ईश्वर का. एक ही है, चाहे वो ब्रह्मा हो, शिव हो, राम हो, रहीम हो, ईसा हो. जब हम अच्छे हैं वही भगवान। जो पॉजिटिविटी, अच्छा रहना इंपॉर्टेंट है सबके साथ, अपने साथ भी पॉजिटिव रहना चाहिए। कोई साधना के नाम से अपने आप को कष्ट नहीं देना चाहिए, वो भी गलत है। कोई साधना करके उपवास करे, साधना करके अपने आप को कष्ट दे, ये भी गलत है। ये भी स्वामी ने कहा कि कोई आप संपूर्ण मानव तभी बनेंगे, संपूर्ण इंसान तभी बनेंगे जब पूर्ण जिंदगी जिएंगे। पूर्ण जिंदगी में पर्सनल लाइफ भी, स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ भी, दोनों अभिन्न अंग है। धन्यवाद।
Dhanyawad, sir. The fourth question that we have is, once my superior said, a little ego is essential for achieving success. How much of this is true?
I didn't know that this session is going to be so tough. You're really throwing difficult questions at me. I thought it was going to be an easy evening session, but then you are making it difficult. Very good. I'm also truly enjoying it. Yes, that's true. Little bit of ego is essential for success. Little bit of ego, like salt in food, is required. Otherwise, the food will not be tasty. Little bit of ego is important. So what is that ego? Ego can be termed in different ways. Ego वो कई रूप है, कई तरीके से ईगो को डिस्क्राइब कर सकते हैं। लेकिन एक ईगो है कि गंभीर रहना, ग्रेविटास बोलते हैं उसको अंग्रेजी में, गंभीर मुद्रा में रहना, एक पर्पस रखना। अब अगर मैं किसी, आप सबको एड्रेस कर रहा हूं, अगर मैं यहां लूज टॉक करूं, फिर वो पर्पस सर्व नहीं होगा। मुझे फोकस रखना है अपने आप को एक टॉपिक पे, ताकि हमारा आज का सेशन पर्पसफुल रहे। इसी तरह जो भी मैं काम करूंगा या जो भी मेरे साथ काम करेंगे, उनके साथ भी मुझे रहना है, साथ में उनको एक पर्पस पे चलाना है। उसके लिए एक ग्रेविटास रखना मुझे, एक गंभीर रहना चाहिए। इसलिए भगवान राम गंभीर थे, मितभाषी थे। यू कुड नॉट एंगेज इन लूज टॉक विथ। ही वाज नाइस, ही वाज पॉजिटिव, बट यू कांट एंगेज इन लूज टॉक बिकॉज पॉइंट टू पॉइंट बात करते थे। पॉजिटिव थे, कंपैशनेट थे, बट पॉइंट टू पॉइंट बात करते थे। इसी तरह एक लीडर को, चाहे वो लीडर, हम सब में बड़ा लीडर कौन है? मदर है। सबसे बड़ा लीडर कौन है? मदर। मदर इज द बिगेस्ट लीडर इन एनी हाउस। मदर को भी गंभीर रहना पड़ता है। बच्चों को, मदर लव्स चिल्ड्रन, बट मदर कीप्स, सेम थिंग विथ फादर। फादर कीप्स, लव्स चिल्ड्रन, बट टू कीप देम इन ए पर्टिकुलर ट्रैक, टू कीप देम फोकस्ड फॉर देयर ओन गुड, उनके अच्छाई के लिए। जैसे कहते हैं, स्पेयर द रॉड व्हाइल द चाइल्ड। तुलसीदास जी ने रामायण में लिखा, बह बिन होई न प्रीति, भगवान राम के बारे में। और जब वो किष्किंधा से जा रहे थे वानर सेना को लेके, तो उन्होंने कहा, बह बिन होई न प्रीति, मतलब भय, राम के प्रति थोड़ा भय भी होना चाहिए वानर सेना को, तभी उनको प्रीति होगी उनके तरफ। अगर भय नहीं है राम से, फिर आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल हो जाएगा, फिर वो फोकस नहीं रहेगा, उनका कलेक्टिव पर्पस अचीव नहीं होगा। इसलिए कहा गया तुलसीदास जी ने, भय बिन हो। वो भय ही ईगो है, वो भय ही ईगो है। आपका क्वेश्चन आंसर करूं, थोड़ा सा ईगो रखना, डिस्टेंस रखना, सबके भलाई के लिए। एक लीडर को आप लाइक करते हो, एडमायर करते हो, रेस्पेक्ट करते हो। एक लाइक करना अलग है, एडमायर करना अलग है, रेस्पेक्ट करना अलग है। और रेस्पेक्ट तभी आती है जब लाइकनेस, एडमिरेशन एंड ऑल्सो बिलीविंग इन द लीडर। बिलीविंग इन दैट पर्सन दैट ही विल अचीव समथिंग, वो इंपॉर्टेंट है। वो कब आएगा? जब थोड़ा बहुत भय होगा, चाहे मदर को चिल्ड्रन को मदर के तरफ, चिल्ड्रन को फादर के तरफ, जिस तरह फ्रेंड्स को आपके तरफ, थोड़ा बहुत, लाइक सॉल्ट इन फूड। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, sir. We would like to take one live question. We have Brother Kaustubh who has raised his hand. Brother, can you please unmute yourself and ask a question?
Sairam, sir. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes, Sairam, sir. First of all, thank you for this such a wonderful session. And I think you told us that you were a Swami student, and you are in one of the most difficult jobs. So I just wanted to know that is there any specific Swami's principle that you follow while doing your job? Because and it will be good for all of us who are actually working in our different professions, not as difficult as you, but if you got to know that what is the one principle that you follow very frequently while doing your professional duties, that will be of really great help, sir.
Okay, thank you for asking me this question. Thank you, because you thought I was good enough to answer this question. So I'm grateful for that. You have given me that what shall I say, pedestal. Now let me try and answer. There are three things which are important. I think one, somebody should mute their phone.
Somebody should mute. I think Sukhino, can you mute everybody? Thank you.
Thank you. See, there's one thing. We cannot escape.
Sir, you've been muted. Sorry to interrupt. You've been muted.
Oh, is this fine now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there is no shortcut in life. One has to do hard work. Only when you do hard work, the intelligence given by God also is put to good use. You have to really do hard. There's no escape from that. So first is professional knowledge. If you don't know your job, whether you're a sportsman, whether you're an administrator, whether you're a teacher, professor, engineer, anything, if you don't know your job, then you can't deliver. So you have to learn your job, first thing. There is no escape from that. So you have to prepare for the next day. You have to read for the next day. First thing. Second, you should know you should have the mind to discriminate, like Swami said, discriminate what is right, what is wrong. ये न्याय है, ये अन्याय है. In everything that we do, is it न्याय or अन्याय? How do you know? Your heart tells you, ये न्याय है, अन्याय है. अपने आप. Your heart tells you, ये सही है, गलत है. Somebody comes to me with a request. I understand ये सही कह रहे, गलत है. कोई फोन करते हैं सिफारिश करने किसी के बारे में, 1 मिनट में समझ में आता है ये सही सिफारिश कर रहे, गलत सिफारिश कर रहे. समझ में तो सबको आता है. हमें राइट ही करना है, कभी भी राइट से बाहर नहीं जाना. फिर उसमें चैलेंजेस आएंगे, वो गॉड के ऊपर छोड़ना है. गॉड विल शो. That is why Swami say, I am with you, behind you, in front of you. Experience him, na? So we should leave things to God. मैं तो राइट ही करूंगा. धर्मो रक्षति रक्षिता. मैं धर्म करूंगा, वही मेरा रक्षा करेगी. देखना. We should learn to bide for our time. Shortcuts नहीं. आज मैं धर्म युद्ध है. Every day I have so many fights with so many people on serious law enforcement issues, on serious public interest issues. But I try to maintain this. धर्म करो, जो आपको सही लगता है करो. And then last thing, compassion. लोगों को तकलीफ भी समझो. चाहे वो आपके साथी है, चाहे आपके फैमिली मेंबर है, चाहे प्रोफेशनल कलीग है, सबको कुछ ना कुछ तकलीफ होती है. Behind every file that comes to me, there is somebody's story. Some mother is waiting for pension. Some son is waiting who is handicapped or differently abled, is waiting for some relief. some young star is waiting for the result of an examination which is stuck in some litigation with the government. Somebody's life is involved behind every paper. Behind everything that you do, somebody's life is involved. Not only government officials. Let's say you're a software engineer. You should develop a software so that nobody can commit cyber fraud on somebody. So, when you have compassion, then you also deal with responsible decisions. You do your things with responsibility when you have compassion. Because you understand that this person should not, so you are also responsible. So when you combine these three things, compassion, sense of what is right and wrong, and professional knowledge, I think you can, at the same time, no worry, no anxiety, leave it to God. Then you can be happy. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you, sir. Probably these are the 3 steps you have given for us to follow. So we'll definitely follow it. Thank you, sir.
No, there's a 4th step, leave it to God.
Yes.
Because every day there will be so much of anxiety, let me tell you. Every day. The only way is do the right thing and forget about it. And let God take care of it. Then that is the strength of one's belief. That is for everyone. It's an individual, lonely journey for everyone to figure out. It's everyone's life struggle. Somewhere the meeting point comes between God and one need not be over going to an overdrive of being, spiritual. As I said, work is worship. If you do your work properly, that itself is worship. If you really believe in God, then learn to leave things to God. That is, I think, the real sadhana. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone, for your active participation and insightful questions today. We hope all your queries and doubts have been answered and found it as valuable as I have. As we draw to the conclusion of this enlightening Satsangatve Nisangatvam episode 8, it is my great honor to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the entire team. First, to our esteemed speaker, sir, we are deeply grateful for the wisdom and inspiration you have shared with us today. We are blown away as how perfectly you tried your best to answer all the questions, and we are indeed very grateful for your time and the thoughtful way of how you engaged with our questions. A big thank you to our respected conveners, Professor Yoginder Verma and Sri Gopi Krishna Piritala. Your efforts and dedication can never be acknowledged with few words of gratitude. Nevertheless, we are deeply overwhelmed to have your support and guidance throughout. To all the participants, your presence and active involvement have been a key part of this satsang success, and your commitment towards this entire program is truly valued. A special note of thanks goes to the SatVam team for curating such a meaningful content and ensuring the proper management of this entire Satsangatve Nisangatvam series. Your seamless hard works and contributions are truly appreciated. Thank you to the IT team, whose technical support has been invaluable in making this virtual satsang smooth and accessible to all. Kudos to the live translation team, who has been consistently trying their best in posting the live Hindi translation. And finally, with the utmost humility, let us all offer our deepest gratitude to our beloved Master, Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, whose divine love and guidance have made this satsang a beautiful success. As we conclude today's satsang, let us carry forward the divine teachings and sense of unity we have experienced today. May Bhagavan's blessings be with each one of us in this prestigious journey of love, service, and unity. Thank you once again.
Anjana,
now proceed to Shanti Mantra.
Can I just make one last vote of thanks? Let me add to what you said. I am also thankful to this team because I have been missing Prashant and Nilan. and you brought me back to it. I'm grateful. Now, honestly, I'm saying this, and I wanted to say this. I know I interrupted you, your protocol of
No, not at all.
you,
No.
but let me add to it because I left Prashant Nilayam maybe 4 decades ago, and I did meet Swami. I had darshan once, I think, in between when I was working in Hyderabad. So I visited Prashant Nilayam. There was some issue which we sorted out from the government side, so I had darshan. Somehow after that, I did not, and you brought me back to Prashant Nilayam. I'm grateful. It is Swami's blessings through you. I'm humbled. With all humility, I am thanking you. One thing, one word, last word I learned from Swami, which I want to repeat, and I hope I live up to it, is to be honest. Honesty is not just it's professional, it's personal, it's financial. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with your family. And that is the biggest lesson Swami has taught us. One word, it captures everything. And I'm grateful to you, honestly, for this opportunity you gave me. Sairam.